Let's close it over here, our Google, and let's maybe make this one smaller over here. And we are back in a index HTML, right? And we just go where we have a start of services section. And let me right away make a comment of end of services section over here. And within these comments, we're gonna add this services section, right? So obviously we'll always start like this. We're just gonna say that this is gonna be a section and we're gonna give it ID. And this is gonna be a services section, right? So it's gonna have an ID of services. And the next thing that we wanna do is actually create a div, and this is gonna have a class of container, right? Now, what we're gonna place over here, the first thing we're gonna place within this container is actually going to be our header that we're going to be using for our other sections. So I'm going to create a little bit of room, and I'm actually going to comment this out just so we have it separately, right? So I'm going to say that this is going to be a header. And the reason why I'm doing this again, because it's going to be for multiple sections. So it's going to be very easy for us to either copy or paste, or I'm just going to show you actually one way how we can do it with brackets extensions. So here we're going to say that this is going to be a div, and this is going to have a class, and the class is going to be a header. And it's going to have right away a Bootstrap class of text center, right? And within that div, we're going to place a h1 over here, and we're going to place a strong. And within those strong tags, we're going to place that this is going to be a services, right? So these are going to be our services. And after that, we're going to create again this underline. So we're going to say div, and this is going to have a class. And over here, we're going to say this is going to be a header underline class, underline over here like this, and here we're just going to close out this div, and after that we're going to create a paragraph class, right? So we're going to say paragraph element that's going to have a class, and again we're going to use this class that is actually built in the Bootstrap, so it's going to be text muted, and over here I'm just going to want to place some dummy text, right? And just to show you where it's we can go online and download the dummy text and all that. However, again, I just want to show you a brackets extension that can help you with that. So over here, if I open up again my extensions manager, and again, it depends how long it's going to be downloading. Sometimes it's doing fast, sometimes it's doing slow. So you're just going to have to bear with me. And over here with the installed, if we go over here, there is this bracket snippets by EDC, right? And over here, if we close it out, this is going to be this little icon, right? So if we just press it over here, we have a couple of options. We have a library, right? Which are the possible options, or we actually can create our own, right? When we're going to start building our next section, I'm going to show you how we can build our own snippet over here. For now, I just want to show you the ones that build in, right? The library ones, right? So we have HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP even, right? But we're going to stick with HTML, right? So we have a style tag and a doc type, right? We can just add this one right away. And figure tags, right? And image right over here. Then we have a link tag, jQuery, and this is the lorem, right? This is going to be a lorem dummy text. And how does it work, right? So we just over here we have to press this plus, right? And over here you can see that I already created, right? Because it just jumped on the left side, right? So let's say confirm, and over here we're gonna delete this one also, right? And we're gonna go back all the way to the bottom and find it where it is, just to show you how it works. And we'll just add it over here. And the way this extension works, we just need to type this lorem. This is this name, right, that says over here, and we just need to press tab, right? So if we go back over here, we can just close this one out, and we just write over here lorem, and you can see that it's suggesting right away dummy text, right? And we just press the tab. Now I don't want all of it, right? So I'm gonna right away delete this, but we're gonna be using later on actually in the services also, right? And as we're gonna be adding our icons, and maybe even this is too long, right? So we're just gonna save the time, because once you're doing your own stuff, you're obviously going to be adding our own text, right? So I don't see the really big reason of coming up with some kind of text that we would want. The bigger important issue is actually showing you how we can add this text over here, right? And once we have added over here this text, and maybe even make it a little bit more, a little bit less, right? So now we have this div, right? And we can just close it, and this is going to be the end of our header, right? And again, we're just going to reuse this header. So it's going to be end of the header. Over here, header. And now we're ready to go back to our section, right? This is going to be our services section. And we're going to say that this is going to have a div and a class. And over here is going to be class of row. And this is going to be, again, this is going to be one of those, not one of those. This is going to be a Bootstrap class, right? The row class. And over here within this row, we're actually going to place a div. This is going to have a class. This is going to have a column that MD4, meaning that when we have a medium screen, we're actually going to be, this is going to be taking 1/3 of the sections, right? And here, once we have a small screen, we're just going to be having a half of the sections, right? This is going to be column small 6. And over here, we're just going to give it a, class, right? That we're going to be styling ourselves, right? So I'm going to say a container. This is my own class that we're going to be styling later on, right? This is not a Bootstrap class. And again, we're going to add a Bootstrap class. This is going to be text center, right? And over here within this one column, we're going to add a couple of icons. Well, actually one icon. We're going to say that this is going to be I. This is going to have a class. And we're going to start with the most basic one, fa desktop over here, like this. And after that, we're going to close this one out, right? So you can see our little desktop over here. And after that, we're going to say that this is going to have a h2. And again, we're going to use a strong tags. And within the strong tags, we're going to write that this is going to be a service over here like this. And after that, we're going to say that this is going to be another paragraph underneath here. So I'm just going to say paragraph. And we're going to use this class text muted again, and this is going to be a Bootstrap class. So this is going to be text muted. And within over here, we're just going to again use this extension. We'll just write lorem, right? And we just place this dummy text over here, right? And then we're going to check it how big we would want, right? So let's say we're going to decide, we're just going to again delete some of it because we don't really need all of it, right? So we're going to go something like this, right? Maybe we can add later on more. Maybe we can actually delete it more. It really depends on how much text you want it yourselves, right? So now we have done with this, right? And what we would want to do is we'd want to add 5 more like this, right? But just before we do that, I actually want to style our header, right? This is going to be our header that I want to style. And only then I'm going to actually be adding more items that we can work with, right? So I'm just going to save this. We're going to go to CSS and we're going to start styling.